you guys have done interviews with me. Like I've always been like the happy-go-lucky, like I just upbeat and stuff like that. And it got to the point to where like the suicidal thoughts were gnarly for me. And that's not something that I don't want to hide it because people go through it. But for me, it was more so like, okay, like how do I stop this? Because I didn't obviously want those. So I'm like, how do I fix it? And I would do everything I was trying to do to get rid of it. I wasn't going to let it, conquer me.
So Davi Millsaps has been on the national radio show several times back when he was riding a dirt bike. Now, of course, he's in the pits here at Team Tedder. We'll get into that in just a moment, but we're talking about your torso, and you just got a big-ass torso, bro.
Wait a minute, no. We were talking about how who's taller, Benny Bloss or Davi Millsaps?
Oh, Benny, hands down by 5 inches or more.
I got to see you back to back.
I go to his shoulder for sure. Like he's just abnormal, And I'm saying this to his dad, and it's the same thing.
Right.
But my torso is really long, and I got short legs, which is what we were just talking about. And like the story I was getting into was when I was teammates with Ivan Tedesco. It was Davey, the only reason why you can hit the whoops that fast is because you have long legs. And I'm like, I don't have long legs. Like I know how to hit whoops. He's like, no, just because you have long legs. I'm like, let's measure.
Ivan would say that to you.
Oh yeah. And I'm like, he's like, let's measure. I'm like, all right. So we actually measured our inseams and we're identical. And I'm like, don't ever talk like that to me again. But him and I are buddies. Like, yeah, I love the guy. But it was just one of those like smack talking moments. You know what I mean? Like, awesome. I was just good in whoops. And obviously you get a kick out of it. But yeah, my legs are really short. My torso is just long. That's why. But I look big on a dirt bike. I know that.
Yeah.
So
what is your inseam? Not to get personal.
I don't remember that.
I mean, what are your G's? I mean, you wear
32.
Really? You look like you're like a 34, man. I'm a 34.
Maybe a 30.
No, you're not.
No way.
Hey,
no way.
Okay, hold on. Do they go straight, talking right to the ankles, to the ground?
Yeah, at least to the ankles.
Well, I'm 30 for sure. 32s will go, like I can wrap them around the outside of my shoes. I got 32 jeans in there. I think they're 32. I got to check. But it's been a minute. I haven't bought jeans in years because they all still fit.
Right.
Thank God.
Yeah.
See, these are the kind of things we like in an interview. It's like, all right, yeah, there's racing going on, but whatever.
Yeah.
Who are you? I'm a 32.
I'm been retired for 4 years now, and I can still fit in my same clothes.
That's amazing.
Everyone thought I was going to be obviously gigantic when I retired, just because my dad's big. I mean, my dad was, when I was amateurs, he was 6'1", 280, and he's going to get mad that I said that because he argues that he wasn't. My dad, I got pictures. You were for sure 280, and he might have even been bigger. They called him Big Dave for a reason. Yeah. So yeah, for me, it's just I stayed somewhat skinny, thank God, and now that I'm somewhat training these guys, I can't be the trainer walking around the pits with the belly. If I had one of those, I wouldn't want them.
Good point.
No disrespect to anyone out there that has one. There's probably fantastic trainers that have bellies, but I can't do it to myself.
It's okay. You can disrespect. It's like coaches. It's like trainers that walk around and they're smoking the heater and they're getting Jimmy Jack over there on the treadmill. No, settle down, Skippy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't smoke cigarettes, and I mean, I drink, but I haven't drank all that much. I've been training for an Ironman half Ironman, should I say. So I'm trying to get back into doing that stuff, and so drinking has been pushed off to the side, unfortunately, because I do like to have my social drinks with my family and whatnot. But other than that, I'm just trying to stay in shape so I can keep up with these guys.
So hold on. What was the inspiration to train for a half Ironman? I mean, that is no joke.
My bucket list is to do a full. Like, I eventually want to do a full. And it's been a dream of mine for a long time. Why, I don't know, because it's very painful for me to run because I can't run. But it's just one of those things where you start, as being one of the most physically demanding sports in the world, you start to look at other sports as like, what is more physically demanding? Like, in my mind, I look at an Ironman as like, the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? And so it's not.
And there are some people that do 10 of them.
Yeah, like the run, the swim and the bike. Like I can live with that, but the 26-mile run, that's not okay. And for me to go into, I'm like, okay, like if I can accomplish that, like that's a bucket list check mark, and then I'm good to go. Like then I have Leadville 100, and Leadville 100 was, I did the 50, and the 100 was really inspired from Ryan Fedora, who passed away in January. He's been my best friend for my best friend for 17 years, best man at my wedding. So like when he passed, obviously it hit hard, and one of the biggest things he wanted to do was let go 100, and he never got the chance. So like there's a lot of guys like Will Hahn and Bogle and some of the guys that want to do it for him, and that's fantastic. But I want to do it for him as well. So like my goal is to do it for him, not this year, but I want to do it next year, and stuff like that. And then I'm done with my bucket list, my cardio bucket list. Then I can move on to, I don't know, maybe get in a belly. You know what I mean? Because then I won't need it. But no, then I want to lift weights and see how big I can get with weightlifting and go from there. I don't know, why not? You only live once.
No, exactly.
So
that's incredible. Yeah. But yeah, to be able to keep up with these guys, like you said, and I still don't understand how mainstream sports, or at least the talking heads about mainstream sports, don't give Supercross and motocross their due. Because you're right, it is the most physically demanding sport out there.
We go between soccer,
and maybe cycling, and that's. But come on,
they think that all we do is twist the throttle. They don't ever look at what goes on in day-to-day life. If they come out here and twist the throttle, anyone can ride a dirt bike. Let's face it, anyone can ride a dirt bike. But no one can do what we do out here, or what these guys do out here. So it's a double-edged sword when it comes to trying to tell people like, hey, like we ride dirt bikes. Like, oh, all you do is twist the throttle. You don't do anything. Like, no, like there's way more to it than that. Like, wake up every morning, like you eat, live, and breathe dirt bikes. And then you have cycling for cross training. Then you have the gym. And you have all this stuff, and your diet is super gnarly too. So it's never ending, and people don't see that part of things. So,
like IndyCar drivers, one of their training things is they've got this weight that helps them to get trained for G-forces in the turns. What's something Supercross wise that's really wicked out there, but it helps them on the track?
Well, we don't have a whole lot of G's like the Indy cars, but
arm pump.
Arm pump is massive, and that comes with endurance. Mm-hmm. The more you ride, the stronger you get. The more you push your limits in practice, obviously, the more you can push it out here at the races. Mm-hmm. But building your strength and your endurance, is it's a hard mixture to get, because you build too much strength. Now you're going to create arm pump. You're going to create more pump, because obviously more muscle, more fatigue. And then you also have to look at, you need the strength for the dirt bikes. But then it's like, okay, well, dirt bikes weigh 230 pounds. Like, you're lifting that every day, no matter how you want to look at it. You're riding it, you're still lifting it. And there's so many things and so many variables that go into it. And for me, I start look at like what I really did, and reaction time is massive, because you get out the gate fast, then you can ride up there in the front a lot easier than you can come from the back. And now with how fast everyone's going, you're not coming from the back. Most, like 9 out of 10 times, you're not coming from the back. So if you can have a fast reaction time, which I just started working on with Benny, because he just came back.
Right.
So, because his reaction time's pretty bad right now, and I love him, but it's bad. Let's face it. He gets dead last starts. It's fantastic. So
he's working his ass off to get to the field.
Yeah. So
that's real tough, Davey. Working with a guy that's dead last. Come on, Crash can help him out.
Oh my God.
Davi Millsaps gets you from last to second to last.
Yeah, I mean, he went from dead last to, I think he got 12th or something like that, 2 weekends ago.
Okay.
But I mean, for him, like, he's only ridden on a Supercross track, I think 8 times since December. Like, that's all he's been on it. So for him, he's just getting his feet wet, learning how to race again before he goes into the outdoor season. But yeah, like, back to your question, for dirt bikes, it's not just, the one thing like in the G-forces, we don't have that. It's just need a lot of seat time. It's everything.
So, okay, going back into the fitness with it, I mean, talk about that reaction time. That's a big thing when it comes into pit stops with NASCAR and IndyCar. It's a big thing when it comes to getting off the line and drag racing. So equate that then to Supercross, because the gate drops. As it's dropping, I mean, do you look for it to be at a certain place before you throttle down?
Well, I'd look for it to flinch.
Just flinch.
Just flinch.
Interesting.
So as soon as it flinches, you go. Because by the time your reaction time goes, the gate's already down. So as soon as you see it flinch, it's already hit the ground and you're gone. But it's not just the start, though, that we need reaction time. It's everybody's out there. All the racers are against you, and you have to move. You have to see it. All the ruts coming at you, the whoops coming at you, the jumps coming at you, your bike can react different ways. Like, you have to have split second reactions to everything on the track. And it's not just the starting gate. I mean, obviously, well, that helps, obviously. Well, 20 minutes in Supercross.
20, you're right.
Obviously, starts help because that reaction time can help you everywhere out there. But I mean, if you have a bad reaction time, now you have to even think twice as much because now you're dealing with the guys in the way back who you shouldn't be back there with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or I shouldn't be back there, or Benny shouldn't be back there with, should I say.
So when you talk about reaction time training, it's not just the gate. It's how do you teach him to be better with a rut in the middle of a turn?
Well, thank God he's good in turns. Like he's good in turns, and that's a natural ability for him. A lot of people don't have that. You know, it's the whole saying is, you know, jump for show, corner for dough. And that's been a saying around for a long time. And corners is something that a bike setup helps tremendously with, and your body position helps, you know. But some people nowadays are taking the European style, which I think, you know, Kenny brought here and you know, Marvin brought here, where they're keeping their legs on the pegs. And see, I was never able to do that. Like some outdoor tracks, like, yeah, if I stand up, my feet are on the pegs, obviously. But
it looks foreign to me.
It's very foreign. They do that a lot overseas. And now they're starting to bring it here, where Tomac has pretty much mastered that along with Kenny, with his feet on the pegs. And I never ever got the chance to really try it that much because as it started to come in, I was like teaching an old dog a new trick. Yeah, it's not going to happen. And for me, it just didn't make sense. It was odd. Benny does it sometimes, and it's fine. But he's way faster when he puts his leg out. You know, Kenny can do it just as fast with or without. So can Tomac. But for me, it's the reaction time in the middle of the corner. It's not really reaction for that. It's just the whole flow in the corner, where your entry is, like where you're giving it gas, where your body position is, where are you looking? Because if you're looking straight down, you're not going anywhere. You always have to look at where you want to go, and that's a big one as well. So sometimes you got to bring it back to basics to get really far.
So you're out here winning a 250 light champion back in the day, right?
Yeah.
They were called lights back in the day. Did you ever anticipate you'd be coaching one of these happy bastards 15 years later?
I mean, I always wanted to do something like that just because the whole time growing up, you know, I always had guys ride with me since the time I was little, like always come ride with me. If they needed help, like I'd help them. You know, it was just, I always wanted to help people get better in this sport because the more people that are better in this sport, the more it's going to grow. And this sport was able to give me everything that I have. And obviously I worked for it, but it still was there. So for me to give back to kids that can't do good, you know, it's one of those things that why wouldn't I? And especially because I have the knowledge to be able to do it, why not? And I enjoy it now. You know, I sat on the couch for 3.5 years with my head injury. And then, you know, now I'm back out here doing this, and it gives me purpose again. It gives me something like it gives me routine. It gives me something to focus on. And because my head injury really did me into the point to where I was spiraling like weird ways, and I couldn't help it. I didn't know what was going on. But now the post-concussion symptoms and depression and all that bullcrap, it sucks, honestly, but it's real. And this gives me something to look forward to and do every day that I'm enjoying it again. So
that's one thing that caught me off guard is when we've had you on the show or we've seen you in interviews prior to the concussion.
Yeah.
This is more you than what I'm used to. But then you hear 3 years, your ass is on the couch because of those issues. You think, holy smokes.
Yeah.
But depression, concussion issues, brain issues, that shit's real, bro.
Dude, like,
it's real.
No, it's beyond real. And I've told this story before, you know, and you guys have done interviews with me. Like I've always been like the happy-go-lucky, like I just upbeat and stuff like that. And it got to the point to where like the suicidal thoughts were gnarly for me. And that's not something that I don't want to hide it because people go through it. But for me, it was more so like, okay, like how do I stop this? Because I didn't obviously want those. So I'm like, how do I fix it? And I would do everything I was trying to do to get rid of it. I wasn't going to let it, you know, conquer me. So that's kind of where I started to go in with my health and started looking way into depth with my health and got to brain health and stuff like that. So where and then I started changing my life. Then it started to go away. And then I got out of my depression, got out of all that stuff. And then I was able to come do this stuff. And now I'm way better now than I have been in 4.5 years. And it's cool.
Hold on though.
Right.
So, oh gosh, the brain is so complex. So this was beyond just your brain. this was your whole fitness. You said gut to head to
gut to brain health.
everything, gut to brain.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's just mind-boggling to me.
They're all related, man.
We're all related.
They are, yeah. But that's what got you started to get back to being better.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, because what I was eating, what I was doing. I mean, if you think about it, when you eat a heavy meal, you want to go to sleep, you want to lay down, but you don't feed you're not feeding your brain, you're feeding your gut. But your brain is affected by it. If you drink alcohol, you drink it and it goes down and it gets in your bloodstream, it goes to your head. Everything, you take, if you have surgery, you take a pain med, you take it and it goes in your stomach and it goes to your brain. Everything goes to your brain. So for me, like as what I was eating, what I was putting in, like still to this day, if I eat a heavy meal, I don't feel right. Like I feel weird. Like I don't like the feeling. And before I could stuff myself and be perfectly fine. Now I feel the effects of it way more because of all my situation. So now I know like when my stopping point is and where I need to be. Yeah, it's definitely freaky.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
History will be made at Worldwide Technology Raceway, June 3rd through 5th. A dream is finally a reality. The NASCAR Cup Series is unleashing the action on the most challenging track in racing in the Enjoy Illinois 300, presented by Ticket Smarter. Racing, music, food, camping, the all-new infield fan experience, and 3 amazing days of action. Tickets now at WWTRaceway.com to the biggest race ever in the St. Louis region.
Well, an
you could write a book about
too.
that.
I'm only 34.
I know, but still. Okay, you're right.
Come on.
You're not 44.
No, he's totally fine.
I might be bald, but I'm only 34.
You could write a book about all that.
But what's interesting about depression is in some form or fashion, we all suffer from it.
Yes.
And you hear people talk about, well, you have children and you have a wife, you have all this money and cars, and unless you go through it, you don't understand that none of that shit matters, man. Looking at your son and daughter, and you're depressed and you want to kill yourself. What? It happens. I mean, that's just...
It's life. And for some people, for a lot of people, it's life. And it's a hard thing to overcome. And for me, it was looking at my kids and my wife is kind of like, okay, like I got to fix this. Like I want to walk down the aisle with my daughter when she gets married. I want to be there for my son. And, I want to do this stuff with my wife. Like there's so many things that at some point in some parts of my day, like I was not depressed. I wasn't suicidal, stuff like that. So I could click those times and use them to like, okay, like let's fix this. And that's when I would. And I'd just do my research, try to figure it out what was going on. And that's when I started finding all this stuff that I needed to at least try. So,
but Dave, you're walking through the Fan Fest. You're walking over here, and people still know who you are. You were a significant part of Supercross and motocross.
They call me Brayton a lot, but I'll take it.
Yeah, it's true. Well, you do. I mean,
no, I do not look like JB.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes.
No offense, JB. I'm way better looking.
Well, you're about 7 feet taller than that guy is.
and 7 years younger.
That's true. But have you been approached to be a spokesperson for depression? And
no.
Would you do it?
I mean, if someone was to approach me to help figure out, or to help mentor kids that are depressed or adults or whatnot and lead them in a direction that could possibly help them, not so to say like, yes, this will fix you. But yeah, I mean, I would talk about it. Like I talk about it with you guys. Mm-hmm. Like to me, people need to be aware that it doesn't just happen to random people. Like it happens to the best of us, and people that like me that was always happy-go-lucky and upbeat and living so far in the now and the future. I was never living in the past. I was never living, with any of that stuff. And then when I hit my head, it turmoiled my life for a while. And so for me now talking about it, I've been talking about it for, a while now. Like, of course I would talk to people and help people and try to get through it. But it's just, the hard thing is when you have someone with depression that doesn't ever have those moments of clarity like I was having, they don't care. Like they don't want to get out of it, like they'd rather take a medication or something like that, and I'm not about that.
Well, we've done our motorsports show for 22 years now, Speed Freaks, but we also for about 7 years there had an all sports show in the middle of all of that as well. And we would do a lot of shows on Super Bowl Radio Row. So many NFL athletes are finally starting to be comfortable with telling their stories as well. And I would always hear them say there was some sort of coalition going on in the background. So if that ever comes to fruition, yeah, you should join them. I
would if I got the opportunity. I would for sure.
It. Yes.
Yeah. But with NFL, you get the CTE a lot more than what you get in dirt bikes. So just because of the micro concussions that you get from hitting the body all day, every day, like running into people, it's not necessarily a concussion that gives you CTE. It's all the micro concussions. So when you don't have to hit your head for a micro, like if I hit the ground and never touch my head, if I hit it hard enough, more than likely my brain jarred, and that's a micro concussion. So when I got my head, all my head scans like that, like I had a lot of micro concussions, but I was so far from anywhere near CTE. So that was a big question for me. And there's a lot of things out there now that can help with CTE and help with, and my stuff. And brain treatment center in Newport, where they do like shock therapy and stuff, that was a big one for me. That one brought me almost back to life to where I had clarity. And because they do like the pulse electromagnetic field on your brain and certain wavelengths, stuff like that.
You're talking about Newport Beach, California?
Yeah. And they did a whole scan of my head, figured out where they needed to put it, and they put it on there, and it woke me up, obviously. But it's one of those things that it was very life-saving for me to a certain extent. So,
but see, that message needs
I know that
message needs to get out there.
Yeah.
Because we're used to seeing this happy-go-lucky guy that was, again, on the couch.
Well, he's back. He's back.
But you still have issues from time to time.
Yeah, my vision's gone, unfortunately.
Right.
That one, LASIK supposedly will fix it. I don't even know. This still freaks me out that they can fix my vision with a laser, but I ruined it by hitting my head. I don't get it.
Well, that's Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah.
That is exactly him. Yeah.
So I lost a lot of my vision, unfortunately. My eyes are very sensitive to a lot of things. But other than that, like I still have moments, but I know it. And there's some parts that bother me the most of if I know I'm angry. If I get angry or irritated, I know that I am, but I can't stop it. Like I can't fix it. I can't get out of it. I just leave me alone. Like eventually, like I'll come out of it and I'm fine. It's the weirdest sensation. It's the weirdest, and I still have that every once in a while.
But to go walk away.
But I know it. Like just leave me alone, and it might take an hour. It might take 4 hours. Sometimes I'll have to go through the whole entire night and go to sleep and wake up and I'm fine. It's the weirdest thing in the world, and that's the one thing that I still really can't get rid of. But it only happens maybe once a month. So it's really odd. So
interesting. But you know it, and your family knows it, and that's the biggest thing. That's all that matters.
My kids don't know it, unfortunately, but Brittany does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
did the kids say Dad's in one of those moods, and they say just let him go?
No, because they're usually worse than me.
Exactly.
It's so true.
They don't even know because they're so pissed off at either one of us that, whatever.
It's their world and you're just living in it.
We took their Xbox away. We took their iPads away. It's like we had to make them do homework. Right. They had to go play outside, and they're all pissed off. Who knows? So
we'll end it with this, David. It's funny when we ask the younger riders, I say younger guys in their mid-20s, we always drop in these three comparisons. We go James Stewart, Carmichael, and McGrath. And again, Carmichael and McGrath just bombed us. But hearing the kids nowadays really revere James Stewart and his riding style, all wins, champions aside, just that style. It's funny to hear these younger kids talk about that.
He's the only one that he brought style into the sport.
Yes.
And he's 3 years older than me. And I'm from Florida, so I grew up with James. Like I was just having, I had a 30-minute conversation with Big James this morning.
Oh, nice.
We were talking about my dad and how he's like, your dad and me were like this, and I'm like, sure, and I love the Stewart family. I always have, and I also hated James for what he was doing. Who the fuck wants to Bubba scrub like that in their right mind? And then I started thinking, like, okay, he's 5'5", so 5'5" or 5'6", like probably way easier, and he has a size 8 or 9 boot, probably way easier. You don't catch your feet everywhere, but you have to admire James's riding style even though he was balls to the wall, he never cared. But it was the fact of how much passion that you could see how he, what he had in the sport. When every minute that he was riding, he always put passion into it. And that was something that you can never take away from him. So from Bubba Scrubs to, his stupid rhythms and across the board, I was talking to Big James Storm, watching him. I remember watching him when he was on a PW, and he wasn't human on a PW. He really wasn't human on a PW. He was God on a PW. As he got older, obviously, he got more human. But the stupidity never changed. He was still that guy that you're like, if anyone's gonna do this, James. What's James gonna do now? So, and like I said, I love James to death, but you admire him, but you gotta hate him at the same time for as a racer. Yeah. Now, as a fan, all day, yes. But as a racer that had to race him, there was some things that you hated him for.
He brought back WFO. I mean, WFO, he did, didn't he? I mean, WFO for me in the 70s was it.
Yeah.
And it just lost it. And I said, that guy's WFO. What are you talking about, Kenny? What does that mean?
Yeah, he brought it. He brought it back tenfold. Yeah, there was, you can go on and on about James, but for when he wanted to calm down, he calmed down. When he wanted to go crazy, which was 99% of the time, he went crazy. But again, I go back to just the fact of how fast and how creative he was. He was super, super creative. And his riding style, straight up, was just on edge all day, every day. Then you had Carmichael, who was on edge, but I don't think he was purposely on edge. He was accidentally on edge all the time. But he would just pin it to get out of it. Where James was more, I think, calculated on edge, earlier in his career.
Just his DNA, man.
It's just honestly, yes, it's just his DNA. And then you have McGrath. He was not on edge. He was smooth as can be, yes. And he was just perfect everywhere he went. And Supercross, it was obviously unbeatable.
Yep.
But then you have people like Ezra Lusk, who was on edge trying to beat him.
Ezra.
And he had all the hard work, he had all the talent to do it, but it just injuries plagued him, bad things plagued him. But McGrath and James and Carmichael, that obviously are this sport. Let's face it. So,
come on, Las Vegas for the finals. Chad Reed and James. If they had guns and knives, they'd be shooting each other or boat paddles.
What's funny is, I know it's sad to say, but I feel like a lot of times James played with everybody. He played with everyone just to hey, look, I'm fast, and then he would just demoralize you. Look what he did to him at Unadilla in the 125 class. Yeah. He let him catch up and pass him, and then just demoralize the guy.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I feel like he would do that a lot, but then it got to the point to where maybe he got too ahead of himself with it, and then it couldn't do it so much anymore because everyone started catching. Because you can only be so fast. Let's face it, you can only go so fast. You're top of the totem pole. Everyone's gonna try to catch you. So, but yeah, obviously those races are amazing. Everyone knows all those races about all those guys.
Yeah.
But
looks like the Green 87 is in for an unscheduled pit stop.
It looks like an oil leak, Billy.
For more on the situation,
let's throw it to Mom in the pits.
Well, the Green 87 is in trouble, but it has a long history of finishing strong. So what's your game plan?
What the 87 driver knows is that StopLeak has special additives that renews worn seals, reduces engine noise, and oil consumption to protect your engine.
Lucas Oil. It works.
Was there a little moment when you saw James not practice, but in a certain race that you thought, yep, it is real. It is real.
My whole amateur career?
Yeah.
Being from Florida, I watched him every weekend.
Right.
It's
right. And
like I said, he was always always the class above me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always that, damn, no, I'm not doing that, or God, he's so fast, but again, it's as you start to get older, you start to realize, okay, if I would have just believed it a little bit more, if I would have done this a little bit more, I could have. He just had all the confidence in the world. He believed in himself, and he knew what he had. He knew what he could do, and it showed on the track every single weekend. Where people lacked that so much, he never did. So, when everyone lined up, when he lined up, everyone was already beat because of him. But he knew it. So that's where his confidence and obviously he had speedy and natural talent and all that stuff. But I mean, just the pure confidence and strength and knowing what he could do was unbeatable. For if you lined up in amateurs, it was you weren't beating him. So I mean, I got close. I was talking to Big James Warner. I got close to him a few times in super movies, and I was a little guy, and I'm like, cause I was running with him. Like I was running his pace. Like I actually passed him one time, and he'd let me know I'd do it again. I mean, he ran me so far off the track. I'm like, see ya. But I was a little guy. So, but it was just one of those things where he let you know, like this is my race, and that's why every time you lined up, you were beat before you even started.
Why didn't Cowie keep him?
You're asking the wrong person. Cowie's an interesting team.
Yeah, well,
so
ask Carmichael about that too.
Yeah.
So no,
I mean,
but you see it's like Nike. Granted, there were issues with Tiger, but you just don't. Where the talent in that athlete.
I think he wanted something different too.
Yeah,
but I mean, again. I know. I get it.
But you know what? That has to happen. I mean, and it does in all sports. You have such a tight relationship with a certain group, and that group doesn't stay with the same management forever and ever.
No.
So things kind of ebb and flow, and if you don't want to ebb and flow the way they do, you got to make a change.
Just like Anderson, he left.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing good.
Boom.
And
Eli.
Look at Eli.
Jeez.
He was struggling.
Yeah, there you go.
And then Cowie finally changed the bike to suit him, and he started winning. And then I don't know what happened, and was losing, and now he won again. So it just goes to show that, if you listen to the rider and not be so stubborn, and this is my way or the highway, like we know best, like data knows everything. Like data knows something, but the rider knows more. I promise you that. We can feel what the data doesn't tell you.
Data doesn't feel.
Yeah. So
feel matters.
And I see what they've done with Anderson, and it's like, okay, well, obviously he left a good team and went there, and they're obviously listening to him because he's crushing it. So, and that to me is a big plus in Cowie's books, as well as with Yamaha. I was thinking, oh man, like Eli on the Yamaha, that's going to be tough. But obviously they listened and gave him what he wanted, and he was pretty much unbeatable this year. So if you listen to a rider and you just try it, what's it going to hurt? If it's not good, well then guess what? You were right. But
what does it hurt to try?
It's the ego that gets you, man. It's the ego.
And don't you want Jet Lawrence to just crush it? That personality he is, man. When and
he has a good number.
Yeah.
So,
that's right.
Yeah. And he has a good number.
That's right.
That doesn't hurt.
I just love that kid and his attitude, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's very, very upbeat. He's, he's a fan favorite for sure. Everyone loves him.
Yeah.
And I would love to see him do good. Like I said, everyone in this sport deserves
come here.
to do good.
Get your daughter over here, man.
Yeah, meanwhile, we have taken up so much of his time, and his family is like looking out the door going,
put your fingers in your mouth.
Dad, can you please get done with that interview? We get it, girl.
We're told that you rule the house. Are you you not your mom, not your brother, not your dad, but you rule the house, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Tell me more. How did you get this status? You good with your schoolwork? Yeah. Do they give you like benefits because you get good grades or you listen to your teachers? Ooh, like what? Like desserts, extra desserts or something?
Lots of chocolate.
Lots of chocolate.
And it's fantastic because I don't like chocolate, so it's always in the house.
Dude, you did have a concussion if you don't like chocolate. What's up with that?
I've never liked it.
Really?
What's that about?
They think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Your dad a little.
White chocolate I'll eat.
Right.
I'll eat an Oreo. That's not chocolate. But that's like fake chocolate. That's fake chocolate. But I won't eat like a Hershey's. I won't eat, chocolate ice cream. I won't drink chocolate milk. Anything like that. Chocolate chip cookies are gross.
Will she eat chocolate?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The chocolate's in the house because of her.
And the kids.
Yeah. They all love it. But I don't know. It's a weird taste.
Has he ever taken your iPad away?
No.
Never, really?
All the time.
Yeah.
You just got it back.
Well,
Yeah, she just got it back. It went missing for like a year.
I Our daughter is 8 years old. How old are you?
7.
Oh,
See, it's over.
yeah. You guys, we know why you roll the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I give it to you.
Yep.
Hey, brother, thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
This is
very
awesome.
much.
All right.
This was really cool.
Is his inseam really 30 inches?
There's jeans. Yeah, you do. You look like you're 6'5". I swear you are.
I know, right?
He looks
See, look
taller
how
than he
long
is.
her legs are.
Yeah.
The children
She's
match,
almost as tall as me.
but the children match her children's, right?
Yeah, they have long legs.
Yeah.
Oh, you want the mic? You gonna sing?
Oh, sing for us. You want to sing Anna or Elsa? Or that's old now. What's the new trend?
the-
It's
Still-
Encanto.
Encanto.
Frozen 2.
Yes.
No, we haven't watched that one.
It's a little addictive.
Sing 2.
Sing too.
Ah,
yeah,
that's golden.
Yep.
Sing 2. She loves Ash, the porcupine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
Yep.
hence it's a good character for
Yeah,
her.
it is.
Yeah.
All right,
so
this
those
is
movies are all
35
good.
minutes. Has been awesome, bro.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
time.
No worries.
Because
Thank you.
are
Thanks
getting
for getting
pulled.
Benny from last to second to last
Oh,
to the star.
jeez.
Man, it's incredible the way you're earning.
Working on it. Trying to get him in at least top 10. We'll see.
Thank you,
Last round,
Davey.
might as well wing it.